The second seat in the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series silly season has finally been changed, and it's one of the guys who was involved in the first episode of this series, Daniel Suarez, who lost his seat to Connor Zilisch. He's taking over the number 7 Spire entry from Justin Haley. Haley's first season came in 2022, the first season of NASCAR's next-gen car, but it should be noted here he actually ran 31 of 36 races in 2021 in the Spire number 77 car, part-time of course while he was full-time in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He put up 2 top 10 finishes, an 8th place at the Indianapolis Road Course, and a 6th place at the Summer Daytona race. In 2022, Haley had 3 top 5 finishes, 4 top 10s, a 22.1 average start, 18.4 average finish. That is a very strong average finish for your first full season running Cup. Led 44 laps, and he was 22nd in the driver's points. 21.3 was his average running position, 61.0 his average driver rating. Haley was sneaky good in this car. He had a ton of finishes in that 11 to 13 range as well that didn't count as top 10s. 2 of those top 5 finishes were pretty memorable third place runs. He finished 3rd in the Spring Darlington race and then 3rd in the Fall Texas race. Honestly, if that Texas race had gone a little bit longer, he might have had something to win there. He was really good in the back half of that race. Very good rookie season. Technically not his rookie season, but his first full season in the Cup Series for Haley. So looking at his teammate battle for 2022, Haley didn't actually battle a single driver. The 16 car, while running full-time as a chartered entry, actually ran with 3 different drivers. AJ Allmendinger was in the car for 18 races, Noah Gragson was in it for 10 races, and then Daniel Hemrick ran the other 8 races. The 16 car, though, did beat him in the top car battle 20-16, most of those coming from AJ Allmendinger, but Hemrick and Gragson both getting a couple on Haley as well. Neither car won, 3 top 5s for both entries. The 16 car with 9 top 10 finishes, again most of those coming with AJ Allmendinger. Only leading 30 laps though, Haley leading 44. As I mentioned, Haley broke the top 20 on his average finish, 21.7 for the 16 car. It was 26th in the owner points, Haley was 22nd, so I'm giving this a 3-2 win to Justin Haley. Again, the 16 had drivers that weren't in the car every week. That repetition, especially in something new like the next-gen car, obviously favored Justin Haley. Thought I would just mention it though, considering the fact that there was a pretty good battle. To 2023, he was back in the number 31 car for Colleague Racing. A couple less top 5s, only 1 top 5 on the season, but improved to 6 top 10s. Did drop in both his average start and his average finish, a couple positions below in points, dropping from 22nd to 26th. He ran about a quarter of the laps inside of the top 15 in 2022, just 13% in 2023, so about half of what he had in 2022. So definitely a bit of a regression there. Obviously, Colleague capitalized coming in the next-gen car. Everyone was still figuring it out. That obviously really helped them with their program in 2022. Still a pretty solid second season for Justin Haley here, though. This time he did have a teammate running the full schedule. It was AJ Allmendinger. 21-15, the top car battle here. They swapped it back and forth quite a few times through the season when I was counting these numbers up. AJ Allmendinger kind of taking it towards the end there. Allmendinger getting the first next-gen win for a Colleague at the Charlotte Roval that fall. He had 4 top 5s to Haley's 1, but only 1 more top 10, 7-6. Allmendinger leading more laps. Better average finish. Finished 21st in points. 7-0 is a pretty big beatdown, but these numbers are pretty close, especially considering the fact that AJ Allmendinger had much more experience. He ran in the Cup Series forever, went back down to the Xfinity Series, then back up to the Cup level. He had experience in the next-gen car in 2022. The 7-0 beatdown doesn't quite speak to how close these guys actually were in 2023. Then in 2024, Justin Haley made a pretty shocking move going over to Rick Ware Racing. A lot of people were scratching their heads on this one. I was one of those people included, but he had a couple of really strong runs here. 2 top 10 finishes in this car, 23.1 his average finish, so moving up 5 positions from where he was starting. He actually improved his average running position, his percentage of laps in the top 15, and his average driver rating compared to the Colleague Racing stuff. Had those 2 top 10s, of course, that great run at Darlington. Haley speaking very highly of what they were doing there at Rick Ware Racing, talking very highly about Rick Ware, the alliance they had with RFK Racing. But after 29 races, he jumped ship to the Spire number 7 entry. Again, this was pretty weird at the time considering all the stuff he was saying about Rick Ware Racing. I think with hindsight, we know that the people in the RFK alliance that they had was what moved to the number 60 car, so he knew that was probably going away, wanted to jump back ship with Spire. People were really talking about this guy in the summer of 2023 though, especially after those really good runs in the number 51 car. He went to the number 7 car for the final 7 races of the season. 1 top 10 that came at Talladega. Had a better average start than in the 51 car. Average finish dropped a little bit. Average running position in top 15 laps, pretty similar to where he was in the 51 car. Average driver rating dropping a little bit. He did not have a teammate when he was in the number 51 car. That was a single car entry for Rick Ware Racing. I didn't feel the need to compare him to the Spire guys in the last 7 races. They had obviously been there all year. Haley was readjusting to a new team. I felt like that would be unfair for 7 races, so we're not going to look at any teammate battles for 2024. And then this year, through 34 races in the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series, just 1 top 5, 2 top 10s for Justin Haley, an exact 22.6 average finish and average start. He's currently 31st in the driver points. Has improved on some of these categories from last year, though, back to 25% of the laps being run in the top 15, 56.2 his average driver rating. But when you look at the teammate battle here at Spire Motorsports, it's clear he's a little bit behind both of his teammates. 7 top cars on the season for the 7 car, that is behind Michael McDowell at 14 and Carson Hocevar at 13. None of these guys have any wins this year. McDowell with 3 top 5s, Hocevar with 2, Haley with just the 1. Hocevar leading these guys, 9 top 10 finishes, 5 for McDowell, just 2 for Justin Haley. They have both led more laps than him, McDowell with an average finish below 20 at 18.3. Hocevar narrowly ahead of Haley, 21.1 for Hocevar, 22.6 for Haley. But the points position says it all. McDowell 10 positions in points ahead of Haley. Hocevar 8 positions ahead, so he is quite a bit behind these 2 guys this season. It may be a little bit surprising that Spire is going to a 3rd driver in 3 years for this number 7 car, but people were hyping up Haley. I think it's pretty clear that Hocevar has surpassed the ceiling of what Haley has. Hocevar is looking like the guy who could really break out for Spire here. Remember, they signed Rodney Childress to crew chief this 7 car. Everyone was saying, Haley and this Childress pairing, they're going to be like a dark horse to make the playoffs. Things obviously did not work out there, had to restart fresh with a new crew chief a few weeks into the season. That definitely hurt their numbers on this board. Definitely think it's a little unfair that they're cutting him so early here. Definitely probably should get a 2nd season with them. But it's understandable when you look at the performance of the 71 and the 77 that they want to get the 7 car running up to those guys. So moving to Daniel Suarez for a minute here, let's take a look at his teammate battles in the next gen era. Starting off with 2022 against Ross Chastain, 24-12 the top car battle here. Chastain beating him down 7-0, but again, 13 top 10s, 6 top 5s, that win at Sonoma. Average finish 16.5, top 10 in points. This was a really solid season for Suarez. This was Trackhouse's best season. Obviously, they've passed this win total this year with SVG dominating on the road courses, but in terms of week-to-week upfront speed, this was probably Trackhouse's peak so far. Again, in the first season of the next-gen car before everyone had things figured out, they came out guns blazing in the next-gen era. Moving to 2023, and we see a bit of regression in both of these guys' numbers. Still a 7-0 beatdown for Ross Chastain, but even his average finish dropping a little bit. Suarez still putting up 10 top 10 finishes. 19.0 his average finish. He finished 19th in the points. 23-13 the top car battle win here for Ross Chastain. Chastain made the playoffs. Suarez did not. Like I said, both cars regressing in the standings a little bit, but Suarez still a beat behind where the 1 car was running. Moving to last year, 2024, 25-11 the top car battle win for Ross Chastain. Chastain missing the playoffs, Daniel Suarez getting in thanks to his win at Atlanta. Chastain, of course, would win at Kansas in the playoffs, so he would get a win on the season. Chastain ahead of Suarez in every other category except for points. Suarez getting himself in the playoffs, of course, locking himself into at least the top 16. Chastain with an average finish 3 positions better, 5 extra top 10s, 2 extra top 5s. And then let's take a look at Daniel Suarez in 2025 here. 2 top 5s, 7 top 10s. Average finish just below 20 at 20.9. He's only led 35 laps this year, currently sitting 28th position in the point standings. 61.3 his average driver rating, 21.8 his average running position. Looking at the teammate battle at Trackhouse Racing, he is behind both of his teammates, SVG with more top car finishes over Suarez, 10 for SVG, 9 for Suarez. That's both behind the 15 by Chastain. The road course dominance has SVG ahead in both the wins in the top 5 categories. Chastain ahead in top 10 finishes. His average finish about 5 positions better than Daniel Suarez. Suarez slightly ahead of SVG, 20.9 to 21.1. But Suarez is the lowest in points. For the points totals here, I put what they would be without the points reset because SVG was able to jump himself into the top 16 due to that. In points earned through 2025, Chastain would currently be 30th, SVG currently in 24th, Daniel Suarez in 28th. 4 categories for Chastain, 3 for Shane Van Gisbergen, nothing for Daniel Suarez. That is why he is the odd man out with Connor Zilisch waiting in the wings. 10 Xfinity Series wins, that's going to push himself into a cup seat. It's understandable why they're moving on from Daniel Suarez. He was the first driver for Trackhouse Racing back in 2021 before the next-gen car came in. But you can't lie, the Chastain, SVG, Connor Zilisch lineup sounds pretty deadly if they can get the equipment running where it needs to be for those guys on the oval tracks. One other thing I wanted to do was compare these two guys against each other in the 2025 season like they were teammates. I think we can all admit that Trackhouse Racing has a little bit better equipment, so it's not too surprising to see Suarez up 6-0 in this category. But this battle is a little bit closer in some of the categories than it probably should be. 31st to 28th in points, Suarez with the advantage there. 20.9 his average finish, 22.6 for Justin Haley, so not super far off where Suarez has been running this year. Suarez leading in the top 5 and top 10 category. 22-14 the top car battle between these guys through 34 races. That's pretty close. They're kind of trading off almost every week, Suarez with a couple extra. Pretty comparable performance for these two guys through the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season. So I also wanted to take a look at Justin Haley now that he's on the outside looking in for a Cup Series ride. What has he done in the other series? So he ran 2 years of trucks, 3 years of Xfinity racing. In 2017, he missed the first 2 Truck Series races of the season because he was not old enough to run on the big ovals. Still finished 12th in points, 3 top 5s, 12 top 10s. Blew all those numbers out of the water in 2018. 3 wins, 9 top 5s, 18 top 10s in 23 races, an average finish inside the top 10. Made the final 4, finishing 3rd in the standings. That shows a guy that's ready to move up to the Xfinity Series. He did that in 2019, only 4 top 5 finishes in 33 races, but 20 top 10s. He was in that like 6 to 9 range pretty much every single weekend. 12.3 his average finish. He made the playoffs, finishing in 12th position. He finally broke out the next season in 2019. 3 wins, all coming on super speedway drafting tracks, Kaulig when it was at its peak there. 10 top 5 finishes, 21 top 10s, 10.3 his average finish. He went on and made the final 4, finishing in 3rd position. He ran it back in 2021. Only 1 win this time, a little less in the top 5 category as well, down to 9, but 24 top 10s, 10.7 his average finish, 6 in the final points. These are the numbers of a guy who's good enough to go cup racing, in my opinion. If you're winning, you're consistently finishing in the top 5 and the top 10. He came up, had a really good first full-time season in the 31 car. Been struggling to find his footing since then, going through a few different teams, a few different crews. Nonetheless, he has some pretty solid lower series numbers here to go with that. Lost in all of this, something that a lot of people forget, I do sometimes as well, Justin Haley is a winner at the Cup Series level. In just his 3rd start, he won the 2019 Summer Daytona race. He led just 1 lap after that whole lightning rain fiasco. They said they were going to go back green. Kurt Busch pitted and they called it. This 77 car was 34th in the owner points at the time of this win. Huge win for Spire. Their first win, their only win in the Cup Series at this point. So he does have the pedigree of a guy who has won at the Cup Series level. Alright, so what do I think is going to happen with Justin Haley in 2026? I think it's pretty simple. He is going to link back up with Kaulig Racing, but it's a matter of where. Obviously, with the Kaulig 2 Truck Series announcement, their partnership with RCR is going to be pretty much non-existent. They're a Chevy team. What does that do for the number 10 car? Right now, Ty Dillon's in there. Obviously, a connection there with RCR and their partnership. Maybe without that support, they don't bring Ty Dillon back and they move Justin Haley into that car. Or maybe they move him down to the Truck Series. He's had some really good numbers there. He becomes a guy that's a good benchmark of what the Dodges can be doing. And then they move him back to the Cup Series when there's a seat available. At the end of the day, I do think Justin Haley should be sticking around at the Cup Series level. It's just a matter of how the musical chairs play out for him, obviously. This lawsuit stuff, these charters that are in limbo. It's probably going to take until December, January until we really get a lot of announcements on driver moves for 2026. So we'll have to see what happens for Justin Haley. As for Spire Motorsports in 2026, they'll be running a driver lineup of Daniel Suarez in the 7, Michael McDowell in the 71, and Carson Hocevar in the 77. Do I think Suarez is miles ahead of Justin Haley? Not really. They both have a very similar set of skills on the drafting style tracks. It's probably the best chance for Spire to win. Suarez has done that in the next-gen car. I think it's also important to remember that Spire got involved in NASCAR as a sponsorship agency and even facilitating some of the charter moves in the late 2010s. Probably a lot easier for them to sell sponsorship to the only Mexican driver in the NASCAR Cup Series, compared to a guy like Justin Haley doesn't have much of a media presence. That could totally also be a factor here, but we'll have to see how things shake out in 2026 for both of these guys. Suarez in the number 7 car and wherever Justin Haley ends up. Thanks for watching.